Wow, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, actually, everyone. Can everybody hear me all right? I hope so. If you have any questions or you can't hear me, please click into the chat, uh, write your questions to the chat box, so then I can assist you in some way. Um, okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and we're going to get started here. My name is Alicia Olson. I'm the logistics leader here at Make Your Mark, and we received overwhelming response to our email that went out to our database, informing everyone that we are holding a hiring event for event team roles within Make Your Mark. So I'm here now today to give you an overview of what each role is, to give everybody some information to help you decide whether or not you're interested in the position, and you go from there. So I'm just gonna check the questions here. So can everybody hear me? I've turned up the volume on, and unfortunately I can't do anything about the sunshine, the blinds. We're going to get started here. I know the light is, unfortunately, I can't do anything about the light here though. I've had some people in the office come in and try and help me here. So, okay, I'm going to give you an overview, a general overview for all the roles that we're hiring for. So all these things that these bullet points I'm going to go through applies to all the positions. So the first and foremost, and obviously the very most important one, is we'll be hiring according to our core values. So that means that everyone that we hire will have to meet all of our core values, because as you know, they are very important to Make Your Mark. The next thing is that we are hiring several roles in each city. So that's for Calgary, Vancouver, and Toronto. So all of these roles are available in all three cities at this time. And the positions will be held in each city. So the events, so whatever role that is hired for, you'll be doing that role within that city. Transportation is key. We need everyone to be able to get to and from the venues and to wherever the event is being held. So that is very important. You also would be hired as an independent contractor. So that means that you would be required to invoice your hours at each month to our office, and then we would make payment at that time. So everybody would be hired as an independent contractor. You have to be able to do some heavy lifting and be able to stand on your feet for an extensive period of time. This is the event industry, so as you know, you never know what's being thrown at you at an event. Flexible work schedules. You need to have a flexible work schedule. The dates of our events and times vary. They always vary and depend on what the event is. So you need to have a flexible work schedule. So at this point, I'm going to go on to describing each of the event roles. If you have any questions, if you could please type your questions into the chat box, and I'll do my best to answer them as we go along and go from there. So the first role that we're hiring for is for an event assistant. The goal of this role is to assist and support the facilitators and students at the back of the room for Sherpa courses, Best Mindset, and our 2-hour business success event. So that means anything from mic running, handouts, registration in the morning, answering questions for students and facilitators, and basically just being support at the back of the room and an MYM representative. The average hours per month are about 20 to 30 hours. So it just depends. That could be, you know, a couple days, or it could be 3 days, 4 days. The hours vary, like I said. So, does anybody have any questions on that role that I can answer? No questions? Okay. The days vary. The question is, like I said, there's a good question here. Will it be full day? It all depends on what event it is, and the hours vary as well. It could be from 7 to 6. It could be from 11 till 4. It all just depends on the event. That's why we request that people have flexible schedules. Another good question is the weekends or weekdays. Most of our events are weekdays. There's very few that happen on a weekend, so most of them are Monday to Friday. And the next one, I'm going to go on to the next one then, and that's setup assistance. So we require a setup assistant in each city. We do currently have some right now. The goal of this event and hiring is to have extra people trained, because we are finding that we are, for scheduling purposes, that we're going to need more than one person for each role. So the role of the setup assistant is to be responsible for setting up MyM events. This includes AV and any other materials, and setting up the room according to our instructions. For this role, you must have a vehicle that can hold equipment, AV equipment, and preferably a SUV or a van, something that is a secure and covered vehicle for the transportation of all of our equipment. Again, the hours are approximately 20 to 30 hours per month, and again, they vary on the schedule varies. Does anybody have any questions on this particular role? I have some questions coming in here. So how many days do you need to commit to? That's a good question. We are looking for very committed individuals. So generally, how it works is that our creation pod, which is the logistics department for MyM, our event coordinators will contact you usually a month to a month and a half prior to the actual course or event, and ask if you are available to work that event. And then if you are, then you would be considered committed to that event. And then we would schedule you to work it. So then as the months go on, we would keep continuously asking you. And so it all just depends on availability. Next question. You do definitely need to have muscle power to work as a setup assistant. There is some equipment and bins that need to be lifted and carried in and out of and set up in meeting space. The size of a vehicle is another good question. Honestly, an SUV works if you can pull down the seats and it's a decent size trunk in it. They're usually 2 to 3, 3 to 4 bins per event, depending on the event, of course, and then plus AV equipment. Any other questions? And just so you guys know, I won't be answering any questions in regards to pay or remuneration at this time. That is something to discuss further on in our hiring process. And I can go into, so I won't be going into any pay or any remuneration of any types at this time. So I'm going to move on then and go and cover the next role. So the next role we're looking for is the event admin assistant. Now this position is specifically for business mastery. It's a fairly new role for us here at MyM. We have just recently implemented it this year. So this role is entirely, the whole purpose of this role is to support the sales lead at Business Mastery with administrative tasks and data entry, and this person must be extremely detailed and have knowledge of Excel. So the sales lead at the event is responsible for the overall sales and making sure everything's done correctly. And so this position, this admin assistant at Business Mastery, is to support the sales lead at the event. So we will be hiring an admin assistant for Business Mastery for each city. And we will be expecting you to work within your city unless we contact you to travel to another event due to scheduling and we need you to travel. So, and then again, yeah, that would be up to you. Any questions on this particular role? So, can you get Sugarly covered as part of any of the roles? I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. Again, hours for this event, for the event admin assistant role, is specifically for business mastery only. So that's 4 days every 3 months. 4 full days because you were required for setup, and then the 3 business mastery days of the event. So it's every 3 months that this role will be required unless we ask you to work in another city. Let me see if there's any other questions I can answer. There are some questions in regards to data entry. Yes, data entry is very important because you'll be entering stuff right into our system, and you need to be a detail-oriented person, some administrative skills, and task-oriented, and know Excel because a lot of stuff is also done through our Excel as well, and then uploaded into our system. The data entry and this role is actually on site at the event, so that's a good question. So thank you very much. You would be participating in the event or working the event for all 4 days. Okay, I'm going to go on to the last role that we're hiring for, and that's for the sales lead role. So this is a pretty big role here. This role is specifically to business mastery events. The whole goal of the sales lead is to co-lead business mastery events with the event lead and the business mastery coordinator. For this role, you'll be responsible for leading and training a group of volunteers to assist for all sales at Business Mastery. So any sales activities that happens at the event, you're responsible for organizing and making sure everything is done accurately and having full knowledge of Make Your Mark. So it is a bigger role. There is going to be more extensive training required for this role because you have to have a clear understanding of how everything works, how our programs work here at Make Your Mark. Again, we would ideally like to hire this role for each city, although it is a big role, so we may ask you to travel to other cities as well to support. And I think any other questions for that particular role? Let me just read here. So good question. Once hired, is it mandatory to be available for all events, and will you have other people trained? So that's a good question. The process is that we would contact you to work an event, and then if you're not available, then we would go to the next person. So that's why we need to have more than one person trained in every role in every city. How many hours for the sales lead? So the sales lead again is 4 full days of business mastery every 3 months in whatever city you are located in, unless we ask you to travel to another business mastery event in another city. So they're very full days. It's working events, so it's you finish when the day ends because that's part of working events, and everybody works as a team and make your mark. So everybody's required to be there for setup day, which usually is almost a full day, and then also the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the actual business mastery event. What other questions can I answer here for you? Will the training become a sales lead? Good question. If you start at a different role with Make Your Mark, then if you're the right fit for the role to be trained in another role, we would certainly cross-train and train train you for other events or other roles if you're interested in. The more people we can have cross-trained in different roles, the better. Although we are very specific as to who is a good fit for each role. So we will make sure that you're a good, you're the good fit and you're for the role that we want to put you in, and that everybody is a good position for you. What other questions can I ask here? Will you be training? No. I'm going to tell you all how to apply here in just a second. So I'm getting a lot of questions on that. Are there any facilitator or training positions? At this time for this particular hiring, I am not hiring for that. That's something that would be recruited through Colin and our Brilliance team for training positions and facilitator positions within HMR. I don't think there's anything else that I can, any other questions here. So the next step is, if you're interested and committed in taking the next steps with us here, please complete the online form, which I'm going to pull up for you right now. Here, I'm going to paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the link here into the box, the chat box here. So please click on that link if you're interested in taking the next steps and fill out the online form. The online form will also be only available until Thursday, April 6th at 5 p.m. After that, the online form will be coming down and we won't be taking any more applications at that time. The online form will also be emailed out with this webinar that is being recorded, and it will be sent out later on today, and you will be able to view it. For those of you watching the recording, you will be able to watch the recording on YouTube, and the link for the online form will be in the description of the YouTube. Again, so just want to make sure that everybody understands that the online form will only be available until Thursday, April 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So hopefully we get anybody who's interested to fill out that form, and then we can talk about the next steps. At that point, we will be holding group interviews and within each city and taking the next step from there. But if you are serious and committed to working with us, then we'd love to have everybody. Please fill out the online form. Again, thank you very much and have a wonderful day.